fourth video about Facebook settings. I will be talking about notifications, mobile settings, public posts, and the option to see and control your activity on Facebook. So how did I get to this section of Facebook again? Well, starting from your profile, for example, you would go all the way over to the right and find the tiny arrow, click on it, go down to settings, click on settings, and then we will start from notifications. Very quickly, this first part, I like to receive sounds, to hear a sound when a student sends me a message. I also like to get an email if a student sends me a message. For example, I might not be logged into Facebook, but I'm still connected through my email. So I could be logged out of Facebook, a student could send me a message, and I'd get an email, and then I could go into my messages um, and um, and and respond. There's a little bit more to know about messaging. For example, you don't need to be logged into Facebook in order to respond and read messages if you have downloaded the Messenger app. But I don't, I actually can't get into that because um, then I would show you my messaging area, and that would that would take away from students' privacy. So I'm not able to get into that with you. Continuing on though, I mentioned before that I have not added my mobile phone. I could do that in the future if I wanted to. Anybody could. Public posts. Two things about this. Talking about who can follow me. What does it mean when somebody follows you? Well, it's different than somebody being a friend. When somebody friends you on Facebook, then they can see everything that you share. But if somebody follows you, that means that you allow people who are not your friends to follow your public posts. That's the key, public posts. So you remember I mentioned earlier that I already have a public website. Well, the same information that I'm sharing publicly on my website, I'm also putting that information on Facebook when I share my class notes and other resources related to what I'm teaching. So to me, it doesn't matter to me um, if everyone can see my public posts as well. But for most people, they like to just keep this to friends so that only your friends can follow you. Keep in mind, however, that anytime you post something publicly, the whole world can see it. Following just means that somebody who isn't your friend can keep track of you as you post things. They know it'll show up on their end, right? But if you ever make a public post, that's that is like sharing it with the whole world. So always be careful if you're posting something publicly. Make sure you you're comfortable with that information being shared with everyone. Okay, so I mentioned that I had let everybody follow me, so everybody can follow me and see anything that I post publicly because I have a public website anyway. But let's say I post some notes publicly. Only my friends can comment on those posts. That's the way I have this second setting set up. That's very important. Continuing on. Seeing your activity and controlling your activity on Facebook can be done by clicking on View Activity Log. I wanted to set up a few examples. So back in February, I had a post that when students friend me on Facebook, they can find out just a little bit about me. And I've only shared that with friends. And I had it on my timeline at first, and then I've hidden it from my timeline. I could allow it back on my timeline again, but I've hidden it from my timeline because um, I don't really need it on my timeline anymore, especially because here I've posted a new photo with my office hours. So this is a public post, which is fine. I don't mind if people know when I'm in the office, and it's not a personal phone number that's being shared at all. I could hide that if I wanted to. Another example, this one is on my timeline, and it was shared just with friends. This was back near the beginning of January. I was just excited to get a lot of work, and I wanted to let students know that it would take me a while to mark that work, so I just wanted to say something about that. Um, I know a few people liked it, so I'm not going to uh, um, delete the post or hide it from my timeline. I think it's a nice post. There's nothing wrong with it, but I could do that if I wanted to. All right, thank you for watching all of my videos that have to do with Facebook settings.